Okay, we shall see how this goes. So you know, however, once in a while you think you have a good idea and it turns out it was a lot more complicated than it was initially supposed to be. This is one of those. As you can see, I am outside and I'm having to deal with all the complications that entails. But today here we are going to be unboxing the ECOVACS DEEBOT M80 Pro. Recently bought this off of Amazon when there was a flash sale for it. The reason I chose EVOVACS, I suppose, as a company, as a brand, is because even though it is based in China, they have demonstrated a commitment to developing their brand. Basically, they had a display booth at E3 this year, and basically doing a lot of stuff that I don't see many other Chinese technology companies doing. I'm not talking about like Taiwanese or Korean, anything. I'm talking about actual from China. This is the box, and it was inside another box, so for those of you who wanted it to ship discreetly from Amazon, that didn't happen. And here's what's inside. So I've opened this up once before. I haven't actually taken anything out, so we're kind of going through it for the first time. Here you have your instruction manual. It appears to be in English, French, and Spanish, which is rather interesting. It's not in Chinese at all. It's entirely localized for this region. And then we start with 4 little brushes here. 2 of them are green and 2 of them are red. I'm not sure what that means. I imagine it's color-coded for a purpose, though. And then here is the plate that actually is supposed to clean the floor. So not only is this a vacuum, this is also supposed to be able to do some basic mopping using a wet-dry system. Here we have a little remote. One thing I have to say about remotes, we have smartphones now, and I wish apps would just replace remotes, really. I'd rather fire up an app and use that to control it than I would actually use a remote. There are a couple of batteries that fell out. Not sure if you can see those. For the remote, I imagine. And then here's the vacuum itself. So I know this is zoomed in a bit. I really couldn't get a better shot at it. That is what the vacuum looks like. On the undercarriage, we have the battery pack compartment right here. We have a basic little brush sweeper. And then right here, okay, here, this is what the color coding is for. The green and red go on either side, so left and right is color coded. With a little dolly wheel up front and then 2 motorized wheels on either side. The front has a very robotic-like shield. It's reflective. Don't want that to reflect too much. And then in the back, this might be infrared. I don't know. And then we have to pull this to open it. You'll go into that a bit later, I think. In the companion box here to the side, we actually have a little measuring cup. I imagine that is for measuring the amount of liquid that you use. You have an extra one of those pads that you saw, the wet dry pad. This looks like a little air filter. And what's in here? This might be the battery. Yeah. So here we have our battery pack. Let's see here. So it looks like it's rated for a 3000 milliamp hour battery. And then we have the charging station right here. Now the charging station is supposed to be one of those stations that the vacuum itself can find and dock at without your need for assistance. So that's what you can see here. So it has that same panel on it, and then down here we can see the feet that actually make contact with the vacuum proper. And if we go back to the vacuum, let's see, if we look under here, can we actually see the feet? The feet would actually make contact with the battery. So the battery should go in something like this. Now you can see the feet can make contact with it there and there. Let's just go ahead and pull this tab out like that. And does this open? I'm not really sure. You can see it has a bumper all the way around it, which should be nice, because that way it's not going to be bumping into your furniture and damaging it, hopefully. And let's just remove the plastic. Won't be needing that anymore. So I'm a little bit curious as to how this opens. I don't want to break it, and I haven't read the instructions. Maybe I should have. It's got one button on the top. Here we have a panel that flips up in the back, and what do we have? You have a little duster brush. Interesting. Probably can also grab some hair out of the bristles. And then I imagine this is actually the dust collector proper. So this is what you'll be needing to pull out. Right, there's a little filter on it. So right there, this is where the filter is. Like that. And then this is the actual dust collection unit that you'll need to pull out to actually empty. As you can see, the bristles flip it right into there. So apparently you do not need to take the front of it off. Goes like that. I think the front stays on, but I could be mistaken. It might come off, but I don't see an easy way to do it right off the bat. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. That's the entirety of the kit. So it would dock like this, I think. Fortunately, you do not have to actually dock it, because that would be a little bit difficult to configure, I think. That's the charger. So, yes, as I've said before, this is the Debot M80 Pro. It's a wet dry vacuum, so in other words, it can do dry vacuuming as well as some basic wet mopping if you fill up the little reservoir in it. I'll have to look into that later. I'm not sure where you fill the reservoir. I didn't see it inside the vacuum portion of it. And in regards to the setup here, I'm currently outside, as I mentioned before, in a very wild kind of field. And it's one of those things where you think it's going to be easy, and it's not. You have to put up with the mosquitoes. You can hear the ambient noise that I wasn't sure would be there or not. It's louder than you think it would be at first. You have to deal with the wind. You have to deal with occasional flies. I don't know, deer flies, the ones that very persistent and very annoying. And then you have to tote it all out here. But fortunately, I think we had a nice overcast day, so the sun wasn't just too glare. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the sun can just be overbearing, and it can cause reflections where you don't really want them. So these were ideal conditions for filming it, and it looks a lot nicer still than filming it inside a dimly lit room. Although the audio quality won't be as good because I can't use my usual microphone. So anyway, as I said before, it's the Debot M80 Pro. I'll probably do a review after I've used it for maybe a month, see what I think of it. But until that time, this has been the unboxing. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.